all working. Yeah, okay, good. Good afternoon. Today we are doing like some final touches here. I've already started a bit today, so I stopped hiding the cursor. It was just a simple like commented out that code. Removed click and drag to move the camera, just because like at the moment I'm not in the mood to figure out how to make it. So like we can make it only occur on like do the raycast on mouse button up, but then that will still highlight the one you've got, and I don't know, I'm just not in the mood to figure that out. I don't think we need clicking and dragging. We can just scroll with directional buttons, WASD, and yeah, you can now use those to use the scroll bar on the building panel. Excuse me, a bit of gas. Okay. So we've done a few of those things, and now what I've started doing is just putting a dust cloud for the building. I took a reference, and I just kind of like, I didn't even program it or animate it. I just popped it in and just started doing this to get a sense of like how that's going to look and feel with like a placeholder. So now I'm just kind of doing something similar. I'm not particularly good at this stuff, but I think I'm getting better. Like that sort of starts to look like quite a nice wobbly shape, and I guess I learn all these little ways that I go about doing it. It's like you kind of draw this lumpy shape, and then on the inside of the shape you kind of, so you do this lumpy shape and then you fill in the lumps, and then I think at the top I do just want to leave it a thin line, and then at the bottom kind of thicken it out the lower we are. Something like that, and then sometimes I just feel like I'm drawing random lines in there, but to a layperson, to me really, a dust cloud looks like kind of random, but it has some sort of lumpiness to it. So yeah, just kind of copying this animation a bit. Forgive me, mea culpa, but I need to use references and just kind of like, yeah, I like how this kind of opens into a circle, makes it feel like it is doing this reveal. And then what we do is we do one again, kind of keeping the general shape. So we're going to go dust cloud appears, and then it's going to bounce between these two frames for a few frames, and then kind of go to the open. And we want to kind of maintain this shape that we have here so that it kind of looks consistent. So we will turn on onion skin. And we'll kind of, like, this won't have moved much. It might have moved a little bit. And what we've got is it's kind of coming out into chunks, which I guess are reminiscent of the chunks that were there before. So we can sort of imagine it doing that. And then another chunk here. So yeah, we'll do that double bump there that we had. And I guess it's kind of like redrawing it. And then this is now disconnected. So that feels like quite a harsh. Damn it. Let's just move that a bit. Feels like quite a harsh turn there. So I'll do that again. And then so yeah, just up and down. That's still that harsh turn, isn't it? Let's do this. Let's do this, and then let's do a bump, and let's do a couple more bumps like this. Finish that, and then we start to have little like balls, little chunks, little nuggets. Nuggets is the word, kind of floating off here, and hopefully this should turn out quite well. And yeah, so then we color it in. At this point we're going to turn, well, yeah, let's turn off onion skin, and then like I said, we just kind of finish the lumps. I'm going to use this a bit as reference, so we definitely have this bit here, like that, and then we have this bit here comes over like that. This bit's going to want to come in, and this bit's going to want to come in. So it's still maintaining some of the shape it had, and I think that's noticed by the eye. Like little bums. Okay, and then basically we want to shade, and then so yeah, the bottom lump. It's kind of like this is the one that's kind of come detached, but we sort of, yeah, you can easily imagine that kind of thing. This line is balked. And then, yeah, we kind of continue the lumps in a little bit. And that should do for like the main lumpness, unless we're kind of gone a bit too simple at the bottom here, so we can kind of do one like that. And then basically at the bottom we want to like really strongly shade the lump. And then so that as we go up, kind of shade a bit less and less. So like the ones at the top can basically be like a single line almost. But it's these ones at the bottom that need to be like convincingly, I don't know, lumpy? How do you get that lumpy feeling? I don't know. So yeah. Started playing Deltarune last night. It's okay, because I was a fan of Undertale. I thought it was clever, and it is they do a fun spin on the mechanic of like the aim is not to kill your enemy. They kind of do something interesting with that. So no two fights ever felt quite the same, which is fun. I feel like the dialogue was a bit like they kind of repeat these character building moments so often that after a while you're like, yeah, I get it, you know. This bit looks weird, does it? Does that bit look weird? I think it does look a bit weird. Definitely would want some like nice shading here. I guess this is something one gets better at over time. I don't know if you go to art school, do they like teach you how a cloud looks? I wonder. Okay. I kind of think that's good. Like, I don't need to add much more to it. So yeah, it will bounce between these two for a bit and then start its thing. So then on this reference that I have, the next frame is the whole thing has, and I might skip this bit, but basically we just do the same but smaller. So I'll turn back on onion skin, go a little bit larger than that. Don't need to work. I'm not a jewel crafter. So we kind of keep this shape, but we are decidedly, like, I think it looks nice if it's kind of like, yeah, the cloud's like moving up a bit. We kind of keep this shape. And what's happened here, like this bit's broken in half, and yeah, the bottom chunks come off. So we'll say that's a cloud. This is two clouds. So we'll do the lump, and we'll finish that, and then we'll have like a big old lump with a bum, kind of. We'll take these ones that I like, so this one's already broken into two smaller lumps. And then we've got this old chunky boy with that, and I might even like go straight ahead and break that into two. Don't know if that's this shape here is like too simple. And then so this would have become maybe even three, because you can see we start to break them up into smaller pieces. And first step is color them in so we can actually see what we're working with. And then we continue the lumps as we did before. So just like that. This one goes like this. This one goes like this. This can creep up a bit. This creeps up a bit. And then this lumps down like that. This lumps like that. Okay, so then we can start to shade. So we start to so we've continued the lumps from the kind of lumpy shape we made. Don't know if I'm making any sense here. And then we shade each of those lumps that we've made. Each of those, but only the bottom parts. The top ones we can just leave as a line. It's maybe really obvious to an artist, and maybe like a lot of people who do this like don't even think about it this much, but I kind of have to because I guess I have a sort of semi-autistic approach to art, where I'm not just doing vibes. And yeah, I don't know to the extent to which different artists are kind of like doing it on vibes or they have some kind of set method, you know. I was looking at this YouTube showed me like Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man audition. I had a look. And there's just like little things that I wondered the extent to which like these are planned movements, and the extent to which they're like, this was just him vibing. So he does this interesting thing, like the reporter goes and starts talking to him, and he does this thing where she stops him and he kind of looks intensely that way and then passes his gaze to her. And I just wondered to what extent that's intentional, because it creates an effect. It creates an effect of a busy man having been stopped, right? Okay, this might be good actually. Creates the sense of a busy man having been stopped, and I wonder if how much was that of that was mustard of him just getting into the character and doing what he felt, and how much was him intentionally doing a move. You know, I'm gonna look this way and then I'm gonna look at that. Like, it's interesting. I don't know. Okay, so now we're gonna break up. So in this animation here that I'm kind of borrowing from, taking inspiration from, is like at this point, yeah, like the breaking up of the chunks has really gotten rapid. So we've kind of showed that the chunks are breaking up, and we still have the odd like double lump. So we can, let's turn on onion skin, and we can kind of keep this one. It's kind of our main lumps, which give shape to the thing that we're making. So this kind of like double bean. And then like really just something like this. And these are like gone now, I think, those little 3 ones. And then, yeah, maybe this has turned into 2 that are like a little bit far away from each other. I don't know if that will look good. I don't know to what extent the eye is actually tracking each of these balls of dust. Each of these little clouds. This has turned into 2 small ones. Like those are gone. And then we're kind of like, yeah, little one there. Let's do it again. Little one there and little one there. So let's see how that looks at a glance like this. So then I wonder now if we just went ahead and shaded each of these, is that gonna be our next frame? And I guess this is just like something I'm gonna get better at over time. But yeah, I like Undertale. I mean, Deltarune is like the bloody music. I mean, the bloody music. Jesus. That's kind of what it ends up all being about. And I think that's funny because I bet I sort of have a feeling that Toby Fox never saw himself as a musician and just kind of went for it. I mean, I don't know anything. I haven't read any interviews or anything. But I reckon he was probably just like, oh, my game needs music. And then kind of did some cool tracks. And yeah, like, I'm not saying he didn't get into them, but yeah, like he just kind of knocked them out, made them as good as he can make them. Probably had to learn a little bit to do it. Okay, now we'll do sort of two kind of signature lumps up here, but then it ended up being like the main thing. So then you've got like Camellia doing remixes of his music and stuff. So we really are. I really do. I think that I want this to be like the last frame, maybe. And sort of we're just kind of keeping the shape. But like, what if I just did that? So we really are. No, this just really out of context. This doesn't look like anything, but as part of the animation. And yeah, I'm thinking again, like similar to Undertale, like the art is so simple, but what makes it work is the movement. So like you could have a really simple scene, very like basic pixel graphics, but if it moves right, if it's like everything is animated and like really like kind of almost pushing it a bit. Just kind of being a bit lazy now towards the end, but yeah, maybe we have just it's gone. So can we animate that? Let's try that and let's see how it looks, and then we'll deal with what may or may not be what's inevitably not going to be working about it. So we've lost our thing because we made a root folder, so we could have the marketing somewhere separate and all that other bits. Assets and no, not animations. Sprites, bases, and we'll call building animation. Did we save it there and everything? Yeah. So did we just do that? Did we just export it? Okay. So then we can delete this placeholder one we used. And there we have it. So we do our preset. Multiple, apply, sprite editor. Cell size 128. And the pivot can stay in the middle. And then let's just pop it in anywhere, because this I'm not going to bother with doing a like what's the word object pooling for this one, because it doesn't matter. Like we'll just instantiate it. So we'll make a prefab that we instantiate that just appears, And do we still have destroy after? We do. So like after 4 seconds, I guess we'll figure out how long. This guy, sorry, I just want to quickly. It's just a reference piece, but I think for the reference, it's just like how big is a human going to be? And yeah, I would really like for these guys to be walking around, but that is kind of a stretch goal. So building animation, and so let's just pop that on. So yeah, rotate it properly, put it, and then get the size, which if it's to scale with everything else should be 7. The order and layer should be like 2, so it's definitely in front of the thing. And let's see how we go, because if we sort of assume that it should be, let's put the sprite at the bottom. No. We need to think about where we want to put it. Yeah, let's experiment with that sprite, because the thing is, some buildings are taller than others, but I guess you could, and I don't want to have to like make an exception just for that. But this way, hopefully, what we can do is just put that exactly on the building. So when we call this animation, so we'll say, so yeah, because I'm thinking for the market, that's not going to work, is it? So it should be, and it might need to be bigger. So yeah, let's put the pivot back. And the building animation would be like, let's instantiate it inside, so we'll parent it to the building. So let's say we're doing the church, so we'll parent it to the building, and then if that's 0, 0, 0, and if the scared is 1, 1, 1, 1, then that's not going to be right, is it? But what if we then again, forgive my, it's probably not the most efficient work we've ever seen before, but let's try that. So we move the pivot to the bottom. See, that's, yeah. So my feeling is that I am going to have to manually change this. Because, or even like on the drawing, like, so maybe I'll have to move these ones down so it starts low, and then by the time, so let's because this is the small bit, we want it to fully obscure on the big bit, and that kind of makes more sense. That kind of makes more sense. But again, I think we can move the pivot or just move the object down. I think it's more wise to move the pivot, so we really can just say that the thing appears. So when we're doing the position, it is exactly on the thing. But the bottom, so the pivot would be a custom pivot. Pivot. Custom, so that'll be 0.5, and then like, it's annoying that it doesn't show me, but 0.25, let's say, so a quarter of the way up. That sounds about right. So that is kind of breaking perspective quite a lot. Should we adjust that again, maybe? So let's say 0.15. Just so that it kind of, you know, and then that goes. Okay, let's go ahead and build this animation. So we take the object. Should we parent it? Let's from now on, I am always going to parent it. I'm always going to parent it. Because, like, just because it doesn't really do any harm, and it just means we kind of have more flexibility. So we say building animation, here's where the animation goes. But that's inside, so I am going to have to, let's just take it out. Animation, create animation, building animation. It's on, that'll be the animator controller, good. Animations base, building animation. Even this is not the best naming convention, but okay. Building animation. Then we can actually go ahead and put it back in the church for now. And then it's this part that we're animating. So you're never actually doing any animation on the root object. I'd say that's a good piece of advice, is never animate the actual object, always animate a parent object. So whether it's movement, scaled, or changing sprite, I think this is better. So let's turn off the thing, and we are starting at 0. Let's just do our typical four frames, 4-frame animation, and then actually this first one would then be none. And then every 4 frames we just do that. And then I will do a bit of a bounce here, so I will go back to 2, and then we go down to, I quite like that sort of feeling of the reveal. Like this. And then the last one, back to none. Just copy this. Right, so how does that look? I think that wiggle ends up being unnecessary, right? So we can cut this. Because I think we are going for something quite quick. So on Base Manager, we will have a prefab. Building animation. Prefab. And then down here, when this is the one called milestone, and everything's in the wrong order. This is hard to find, but okay, so straight away we play the animation. So we go instantiate building animation. I guess it doesn't matter where we put it, and then we want to actually edit it. So we say building game object. New building animation equals instantiate that, and then new building animation dot transform dot position equals, and actually we've had troubles with like knowing which is the current container, because basically, yeah, no, so because I did a hacky fix, so it's like, if I click the upgrade button on the church, but another building is behind the button, it makes that the current building, which is obviously not what we want. That's not what we want. So like, how do we access the current building for certain? We go open building, current building. I think we might want to put that put it there, but basically, yeah, current building equals building, and then actually. Yeah, I want to access. Yeah, I want to access like the actual transform that we've clicked on, which should be easy, but it's not, and it will click through the thing. So I think actually here we can just put if building base manager. We just basically have the same thing. And yeah, we actually don't need this anymore. So we'll do that. And that should work. Because it understands I can't click on a building while that panel is open. Right. And then we can actually say base manager dot current building container equals this. What did we have before? Let me just go right back. Yeah, equals this. Let's see if that causes the same issue still. Okay. So at no point will it be parented to that. So we don't need to worry about that. Taking a sweet time. Right. So we need to make this prefab. So this can live out here for now. Let's give it 0, 0. Keep the scale at 7. Keep the rotation at 10. Pop that in our prefabs. And we'll just put it there. Animation, prefab. Yeah, let me just double check. So, no, we have, yeah, so that's there. So what that should do is when I upgrade a building, it will build that, and then I need to put in some because we've got our hit milestone. Scaffolding animation. I don't think we're doing that. And then I guess we wait for half a second. I guess we don't really need to wait. And then yeah, hopefully we can do update building current. Hopefully that will work, and then we'll deal with that. It was just like if I click, like the raycast goes through the UI, so I don't know if I can just like tell the UI not to be a raycast or something. And yeah, just to be double certain is, yeah, I may put this on get mouse button up, but get mouse button down. See how we go. So what we should have, and yeah, I've got my, so I can just constantly delete my saves just so I can like demo upgrading a building, and I've got my cheat for giving myself money to do so, so this should work. Just want to check something. Yes, the actual building itself does grow, so maybe that I should do that with these as well. Might look less weird anyway. So for upgrading the church, get some currency, give me some money. Okay, so there's a good start. So of course, rookie mistakes don't loop. And let's see how that feels again, because I think that basically did it. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it's just a little something to let you know, just to make it really clear that you've upgraded a building. Yeah. Okay, so we should wait a bit before. So like, how long does it take? It's like 8 frames or something. So that's like 8 frames is like 1/10 of a second. So I think when you do wait for seconds, it assumes a certain number of frames per second. So yeah, building hit milestone. So we'll just do yield return new, wait 4 seconds, 0.2. I mean, it's so quick that I think like you don't actually see it. Like it's not bothersome that it does that you can kind of see the building change on the very first frame that you click it, and then the cloud of smoke kind of covers it. Let's just see how that works really. I swear this camera movement, like, it can't make up its mind of how fast it's supposed to be. I keep telling it. I keep changing the thing. Doesn't that not feel slow? Maybe it's not. Anyway, so we can go to the barracks and we can buy barracks level 2. Yeah, that's nice. I'll probably look at it in a few weeks and, you know, be like, this is crap. But that works pretty well. Bit of sound effect would be nice, of course. Like a little bit of, you know, like a, I don't know. What would be a good sound effect for that? Some kind of building animation sound effect. Yeah, and it even works when it's like kind of obscured. Okay, do we have... Okay, so now... yeah, I kind of just need to do the rest of them. But as you can see, that they're empty, and that is a really fiddly job of just like putting the leaves in the UI. But we can see the buildings upgrade. Okay, like that's done then. Animation for upgrading a building. That is there. It's not amazing, but it's there. Correct currency on base manager. So we don't actually have symbols for the currency. So this might be like a later on the visuals list, but just we're almost done with this bit. So I need to see. So base manager, do we have like, where's the image for that? Image, currency image. Does that get updated anywhere? I don't think it does. So we would want to take this currency image and say, so at this point we know which faction we've chosen. Yeah, we've got current faction. So yeah, currency image dot sprite equals current faction dot currency sprite. And are those even set, I wonder? So if we go to factions, currency sprite, are they ever set? I don't think they're ever set. Do we have them in sprites? There's all the characters, which we haven't actually set. I just wanted to put them here because this is where they would end up. Characters, 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 characters. See how many characters there are in the game. Okay, that's all the way down to the bottom. I could have checked that quicker, actually. Stage sprites. So let's do factions, and then we go public sprite human currency sprite. And we don't have to say sprite because we're here. And we'll just put one of those for each of them. And we don't actually have a sprite for any of these yet, but I would be happy if it just ended up giving me a blank one. So humans, stuff.c.sprites. Stuff.sprites.currency, human currency. And we'll need to do that for each of the 4 factions, not a big deal. And where does it sit? Under where we put the sprite. Orcs currency, I guess. Okay, and then if we just if I just put those to like some random sprites for the moment, that should at least tell me that this is working. So for the humans would be a coin. I guess I need to put that in my visuals. Add. Oh, faction currency sprites. I've got that there already. Good. So project scenes. And if we just said human currency was, I don't know, let's just Let's just use artifact sprites. And I'll know it's worked because when we open it, it should change the sprite to one of the artifacts. Yep, there we go. So that will always just show the correct currency, which for humans will be like some kind of coin. And then if I were from here to click on the orc base, it would open the orc base and show their currency, which would be like, I think teeth. Their currency, they trade in teeth. So that should be fun. Okay, nice. Correct currency on base manager. Okay, so the next one is this really silly, funky one. I'm just going to do something quick. So we'll go back to base and we'll grab any one of these. And the animation should be highlight. When we're highlighted, we should also increase, like the building scale should also increase. So the highlight scale goes from 1.5, goes 1.2 to 1.5, so we should go 1.5 to 1.1, I guess. It's maybe a bit noisy, but I think it should work well. Let's just slow it down. Just consistency between these two scenes. Now, of course, in future, as I make these things, I'll make them work for any object by, again, proper parenting, and you know, so many things come down to proper parenting. It is a bit annoying that the white ends up appearing behind the building behind it, and this never comes up. I mean, can we try and make it come up with a different building? I guess we could with the upgraded ones, but I can just space them out a bit better. I'm not too bothered about that. But it's just really letting you know. And actually, I think in the long term, like I should change this highlight animation. I think it should just be, we could take the sprite of the thing and just make it 1 pixel wider on all sides with white and replace that. That would look neater. I think actually the thing here is the default size of that highlight, and I wonder if I can change this without too much issue. So if I just go building idle and get the just get the barracks, get the highlight, and just by default it is actually already at 1. Okay, I just want to try that and then we'll move on because I can't be messing around too much with this. But I think that highlighter just wasn't doing it for me. Like, it just felt a bit weird. On the map, it's really smooth. On the map, I think it's working really well. Like, it's just very subtle, very nice and neat. Yeah, this is less distracting. Just that growth animation at the beginning, I think, was just. But this just really lets you know you have highlighted an object. Is anyone bothered by the fact that the flag doesn't end up with the white highlight around it because it's actually part of a different object? I think that's probably fine. But let's say we had buildings that had like peripherals on them. like we would have flags up here, but they would have to change based on the state of the building, which might just mean that maybe we just use prefabs instead of changing the sprite. Maybe what we do is I'm just gonna close the door quickly. Maybe what we do is, yeah, like I would have a thing where, like, if the building has peripherals, and at the moment, yeah, we've kind of got that here. Where did I do the exceptions? I had a bunch of exceptions for, like, here. Where we basically, like, would switch the things on and then put them in place. So it'd be like, oh, the wizard tower has now got, like, the chimney, so we need to add that and add the chimney smoke and put it there, and it would just be sitting in the object switched off, and it's just on a, like, we just have some delicious spaghetti here that we do them one by one. I think that's probably fine. But like I said, I think I'm going to leave that for much later, because things may change. It's going to be extra work that is on a per building basis, where we'd say, okay, yeah, turn the flags on. You've upgraded the barracks, turn the flags on, put them in the right spot, but that building may change. So I would want to kind of just make sure everything is certain before I do that. Okay, that's everything I had for today. So we've blitzed through that. And we are in a position now where, with a fresh save, so I'll just exit the game there. With a fresh save, we can come in, and I've already tested the whole thing of, like, gaining currency, and then you can use it to spend in this area, which will upgrade the faction associated. That should work. There might be a couple little things to do with that, but generally that should work. We have a nice town. We have a town. I'm happy with it. And there's a little bit of up and down movement just to kind of, you know, help place you in the scene. In the other, so like for the undead, for example, I actually want the camera just to go down and for you to, like, go underground, which should be fun, should be interesting to do. Okay, what's next then? I guess I've got on my list to finish the map. So let's go there in game. And yeah, basically at the moment, this area is filled out quite nicely, but we need to go across the land and make it look how it's going to look. So we need some more, like, barren, burnt grass, totems, burnt villages, burning houses, that kind of thing. I might quite like to draw some, like, a little ranch with some cattle walking around. Would be quite fun. Just to kind of, again, like, where what we don't have in visual fidelity, we can have in movement fidelity, if that makes sense. And yeah, we might need to, like, just getting this edge just right. But this feels nice. The clicking and dragging is awful, but I don't think we need that. We can just use directional buttons. We have a map, and we can select a battle if we want, which will lock us in with the characters that are available for this battle. And yeah, let's see if anything breaks right now as a result of some of the other stuff we've done, maybe. Let's turn off that music. We have reset the save, and generally I think this is the kind of config that works best for streaming. And the whole game is way out of balance because I've changed the rate, like the healing thing. Okay, upgrades can be combined. Let's so 16:9. Yeah, it works either way. And I want full screen, please. Let's just have... okay, let's go with healers. That's OP. Not quite fast enough to heal through a lot of the damage, but that's kind of, you know, they have to be balanced somehow. Loving the cloud. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I haven't got any artifacts yet. I think I'll speed up a bit. Yeah, okay. We've already got a combo for the sword. But then spear is just quite fun to have anyway, I think. But let's go with shield. Each of these characters somehow has 4 hands. Yeah, let's go with soldier. I think the current setup makes healers kind of OP. Oh, mania, yeah. Yeah, let's go level 4 soldier then. Performance seems to be pretty good despite me playing within Unity. So both of I want these two to combo. I want paladins, but that doesn't mean I can't pick another one. But actually, damage is a good pick anyway. Yeah, let's just keep upgrading what we've got as we can, because it's the way I like to play these games. I like to have my starting artifact and then just shape my entire build around whichever main thing I got first, which is why one of the first unlocks in this game that is pretty much unavoidable, and I might even make you get as part of the tutorial, is the starter fact, where you actually start with an artifact. That's just how I like to play these games. So when I'm playing Monster Train, whatever my first thing is, I just lean into that playstyle. And if I don't have anything, I kind of don't know what to pick. I'm like, oh, I don't know what my advantage is. Which is a bit silly, but crit is always good. Luck is always good. Heal is a bit redundant if you already have priests. So I'm going to pick luck. Chickens become much more valuable with the loss of the full heal for level up. As you can see with priests, my guy just heals right back up instantly. Which might mean that kind of going into a Warcraft raid, you would not dream of going into a raid without a healer. So it might be that priests are a must pick, which I don't like. I don't want you to have to pick a healer. So we'll figure that out as we go. Okay, I guess we can do boots, because that combos with luck, and in 20 seconds, either the game is going to crash or we're going to get our next bit. Okay, I guess since we've got shield, we could pick ice, and then we've got fire and ice, and I think that's quite fun. So let's do that. The main visual upgrade that the game needs is... Okay, loot is reset. Okay, yeah, so we can go all in on the loot build then. Okay, so we want luck, we want looters. That's about it, really. I guess if you were smart, you'd go for chicken build. Okay, so I guess... Yeah, you would go for a chicken build, which is rations plus range, I think. And that gives you reign of chicken. Because every time I get an item, my entire army resets their attacks. Which is pretty strong. Potentially. Okay. None of these are good picks. None of them are bad picks. Which one's synergize? I think shield might be redundant. I'm going to go with Bannerman. It's a good way to like test optimization as well. So yeah, look. Everyone resets their move when I pick up a special item. Is that balanced? I don't know. We're not at the balancing stage yet. But it's fun. And it rewards me for picking a certain build. Okay. I like wizards. I just like them. Okay, we're winning pretty strong. Don't seem to be taking much damage from the enemy, like our army is nice and thick. But I don't feel like we're dominating too much. It's always a balancing issue. It's like, I don't want it to be too easy. See, I took a lot of damage from those wogs. So I'm having to use my army. Like, I have to stay in my lines. When I've got armor, I can be aggressive, but otherwise I should hang back a little bit. Okay, nice. We've got a treasure chest. Sword, please. And we need to start getting some combos, or we're going to fall behind and the enemy's going to start overwhelming us. Here we go. For the human beings. Yeah, I want my paladins. I like paladins. Okay, nice. And I like how big his health bar looks. And oh, that's a purple chest. It's quite lucky. Okay, no errors at the moment. Nice. Yeah, I don't feel like we're too overpowered. We're kind of outnumbering the enemy, but that's sort of the whole point, you know, of winning. Optimization is surprisingly good. Not by accident. There we go, Paladin. So obviously we need much more fanfare around collecting one of those combos. Oh, and see, yeah, you see, my guys are... So, like, priests aren't that OP. Which is good to know. Because, look, we're not invincible. We are losing units on each clash. And I can die. Oh, no! What? I reckon it's going to be something to do with not having named something correctly. So what's the issue? Spawn character. Okay, we'll trace this. Okay, so it's one that's on the special list. Okay. So let's find our special list. And also we can get rid of some of these debugs that aren't doing anything for us. Tidy that up a bit. Okay. What's the issue? Okay, so if I say if new character container is equal to null, then we say character name and team name. So Shaman 2 is telling me that's where the problem is. So what is the problem with Shaman 2? So let's have a look at... 2. Upgrades. So I don't understand what the problem is there. Enemy spawner. And then usually it's like around here. So actually I can't see. Yeah, there's Shaman 2. Oh, but it's wave 4? Bizarre. Bizarre. But there it is. I found it. Okay. I'm hoping that doesn't just... I'm hoping I can just continue. Although it's going to give an error every time it tries to make Shaman 2. Which actually might not happen that much. A Shaman's like a special enemy. So it shouldn't be too bad. Another epic chest. Nice. Okay, well that's good. The thing that you don't want is when you discover a bug and then you go searching for the cause of it and you can't find it. It's like if you heard someone, this is the analogy I have, if you were like in bed and you heard someone and you definitely distinctly heard someone downstairs in your kitchen like doing shit, rummaging around. When you get downstairs, what do you want to see? Do you want to see nothing or do you want to see a criminal in the kitchen? Because if you see a criminal in the kitchen, you know your problem and you know, okay, I need to call the police and deal with that. But if you see no criminal in your kitchen, that means they're still hiding. That means you don't know. They could still be there. So what, you're going to go back to sleep? You're going to get on with your day? So it's almost better if you hear a criminal in the kitchen to find the criminal. Anyway, just a weird analogy about bugs where it's funny that you're looking for a problem. Okay, let's get that. And then we'll see what our next thing is. Okay, we're getting kind of smushed. So it turns out priests are not an easy win button. And why are we getting so badly smushed? So I need to back off. I need to take out this totem. I think Looter is good for this build. So let's get Looter. Okay, I need to be brave and aggressive, but not too much so. I feel like, yeah, my weapons have taken a while to cool down there. Okay, now we can actually... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, no! Okay, well that's kind of how you want... To be honest, like, until you've upgraded some things, that is kind of how you want the first run to go. Like, you want to lose. We want the player to lose their first go. So if we're talking, is this balanced? It's kind of like, yeah. Yeah, that is balanced. So you finish your match, then you get back to the title screen. And then you go and you see I've earned some coins. I don't know why that's big and red. Is that because I'm like animating the... Why is... Currency text is red after a match. Are we animating the root font or something? Or like the font shader. I'm very bad with shaders in Unity. So yeah, and then so we unlock some stuff, and the tutorial will say, and you'll have been given a specific amount, and the first mission would be a tutorial, and then you're given you're told to upgrade the barracks. So we'll have given you enough to upgrade the barracks. I can just cheat that and say, yeah, I've upgraded the barracks. Oh, that's great. It's simple, but it really does the trick. It's like, as opposed to just, you know, suddenly changing the object. And okay, now I want to try something. I'm going to make it so that the button is over something else. It worked. Nice. Okay, so we dealt with that bug. Yeah. Don't worry about this. This is not meant to look good. Oh, okay, yeah. We can collect our achievements. And funnily enough, that still actually works, despite this being duct taped together from from the previous build, so that's nice. But yeah, obviously I need to fix that. We're going to get into UI at some point. I mean, at the moment, like, there's so much on the list that definitely needs doing that I'm not too worried about the things that are like little annoying bits that I can't, that I just don't want to do. And yeah, we need to fill out each of these buildings. But that is good. I'm happy with that. This is the game. So then we would have access to the next quest, and we would basically keep doing it until we win. Why aren't those birds moving? Why aren't those birds moving? Oh god, okay. The birds have stopped moving on map. Are they still moving? I can't see any birds, which makes me assume that they're all... Oh yeah, there's a bird. Birds have just stopped moving. I don't know why. Don't know why. They were working fine a second ago. I don't know what's changed on the bird script that means it no longer works now. So that's fun. What about clouds? Clouds moving? And that's after a match. I don't know why that would have any impact. Like, why would that make a difference? I don't know. So we do a match. Come on. We do a match and then we quit. Quit to menu. Yeah, I guess that quits to menu. And these ones are fine. So again, I can't find the criminal in the basement. I know he's there, but I can't find him, so I can't call the police and deal with him. I mean, I'm in England, so I can't shoot him anyway. But you know, I can't like send him a strongly worded letter. So how can I fix this? If it's how do I replicate that bug? I don't know. I'm loving that. I'm happy with that. That's today's thing. This morning, I fixed my boiler and I sorted out my latest YouTube video. So that's going up at 4 o'clock today if you want to see that. So that's in an hour and 45 minutes about how to deal with burnout. And I've fixed some bugs here and I did this animation. So it's been a good day. And I'm happy to kind of like say that's that. Okay, so then yeah, I you know, there's more to do. There's more shit I'll find. But I think on Monday, I will just get back to my list. And again, like I talk about in my burnout videos, like sometimes you just need to pick something at random from your list. You get kind of overwhelmed with stuff. And so the next thing I'm going to do is finish the map. Make the map look right. So I'll need to do some more drawing, dark hills, burning houses, burnout houses, little dock, little fiery orc totems, wells, and I'll think of more like skull, like well, it's kind of like the totem, little skulls on posts, and then kind of filling out. Add forest to the western edge, add forest north of the river, and I'll make more notes like that. And yeah, I'd like to have little branches with animals walking around. Oh, a little button to get to the next mission when a mission is highlighted. I suppose that's worth doing. These odd bugs that happen after... Is it because... I think I know why. It's because time stops Yeah, that'll be why. Time stops, and then that's messing with the animations of certain things. I don't know why it would mess with the color of the currency, but so all I'm going to do to fix that is quite simple. Oh, I already did. I already did. Okay, apparently I already did. Like that's what I would have thought the bug would be, is that the time scale gets all balked. So I'll have to. So that's not as easy as I thought it would be to fix. Sadly, I reckon. I still think it's something to do with that, though. I think maybe something is overriding that. So like somehow that whatever was causing time to stop because of like finishing the match is also just causing is like happening somehow after that, or is this even being called when I return to it from another scene? To do with timescale. But that's some fun for future me to deal with. So yeah, next thing on my list, I could do the other bases for the other factions, which shouldn't be too bad. Some more buildings to draw. And if we can get those off the list, and then I do a big round of sound effects, then we're kind of looking at very few little things. Oh, I really want to do the outline. So yeah, we'll do a visual check, a visual catch up. And then the list starts to become much smaller, and then it's much easier to manage. Wow, it's only 2:15, and I'm kind of done, to be honest. I could start expanding on the map, but I feel like I want to tackle that I'm sort of done with what I had set out to do today, which is nice. But also it's kind of like, shit, what do I do? I think I'll go and do something else productive. I'll go and do some exercise. I'll go and make a Lego with my son or something. Let's see this a couple more times. Oh, we've already maxed it out. No, it should be one more. Lovely. Just enough to kind of like, yeah, you got it done. We're not spending too much time on it, but it's not just a simple sprite change. And each of these buildings has upgrades, and I don't think I've even set it up so that you need this. You need Church 2 to unlock Heal 2. Actually, I think I have. I just on Heal 2 we just say you need. This one is a requisite, but we're not showing the white line, basically. It's just kind of anything above these milestone upgrades. We'll have a different graphic for the milestone upgrades, but that's part of the big UI glow up where we go through the whole thing and just kind of address the UI. I love for units to be moving from place to place, but that doesn't feel like a priority right now. So yeah, the next thing, finish map, make the other towns, and then, god damn it, that's done, and then we can focus on some other shit. So yeah, short stream today, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be off for the weekend, and I'll be back on Monday to do more map and more bases and so on, and we'll smash this hard next week and goddamn get this progression system done. The game is fun, needs balancing, needs the story mode. Story mode is all set up. We just need to write the story and put it in. And yeah, good stuff. All right, thanks very much everyone who joined today. Not a terrible turnout. So yeah, have a great weekend. Cheers, bye.